awesome guest, the author of Crossroads, the Humboldt Bronco survivor, Kaleb Dahlgren. Let's go!
I like the little background screen. That's pretty
Thank
sweet.
you. Yeah, I'm at the ice rink. It's a little chilly in here, so I need to put on a sweater. Okay, so first I want to say congratulations on having the #1 best-selling book in Canada for 5 consecutive weeks. Me and my dad read it. It's amazing, and it's like an amazing book. So yeah.
Thank you.
And I also want to say, thank you for doing this podcast. Me and my dad read Crossroads, like I said, and I want to let you know that your story is very inspirational and all that stuff. It was an amazing story.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on here. I'm looking forward to it. I like the little messages going back and forth about the outfit, so I'm all game for it.
All right, awesome. So are you ready for the questions now?
I am ready. Fire,
Right.
crack them. Let's see what you got. You can ask me anything too, by the way.
Okay, awesome. So you and I both started out with health challenges. How difficult was it for you to grow up with diabetes? And what advice can you give young athletes that also have to deal with illnesses or disabilities?
Yeah. So for me, when I was 4, I got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and it was really difficult. And it was because I wasn't able to really comprehend what it was. And when I left the hospital, I thought I was done with the needles. And I only found out I needed needles again and again and again and again. And that was going to be my life. And I needed about 5 needles a day in my arm or bum, and I needed to poke my finger another 5 times a day too. So that was the hard part for me, was actually coming to terms and accepting that I have to live with this forever. And then also finding the positive in it, because I know even anyone dealt with any illnesses at a young age, it's hard to find the positives in it. And for me, I was able to actually find it after probably 3 or 4 months. But those 3 or 4 months before we'd play, we wouldn't play. I'd play hide and go seek, but I didn't want to be found. And it was hiding from my parents. I'd even question them and say, "You don't love me. You're hurting me." So it was really difficult for our family. But once I found the positives in that, you know what, I needed needles to survive, and that I didn't have to let this define me. I could still pursue my passions, my dreams. I could still make something out of it. That was when I came to terms with it and found the positives. And it did make me more mature. It made me way more ahead of my friends and peers to have to actually watch what was going into my body. I was also able to have more resilience with life. And when I was thrown in tough situations, I'd be able to bounce back because of this. And moving forward, some advice that I give is to really enjoy the grind of life, because we do all our lives have a grind, to really find the positive in that grind and to make the most of the situation that we're given. And that's probably the biggest thing for me. And to make the most of it, follow your passions and do what makes you happy. And so, for example, you doing this podcast is a great way to follow your passions and dreams too, and make a difference.
Yeah, and it sucks too, because once you if you have illnesses or diabetes or even disabilities, it's so hard for you to know what's going on when you're a little kid, because you're just you don't understand words when you're little. So nobody could say, "Oh yeah, you have this," or "You're struggling with this." So you just need to keep on doing it, and then until you actually get figure out what's happening, that's when it becomes a little bit challenging, but a little bit better. So
yeah, 100%. And you also grow to learn more about yourself too, and what you can handle and how strong you are as a person too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was able to relate to what it was like for you to push yourself, even though you knew it was dangerous. Coaches used to pull me out of conditioning all the time while my teammates were working their butts off. How do you convince someone that is okay to sit out when their bodies are telling them to?
How do you convince someone to sit out when it's okay?
Yeah.
It's for me, one of the big things I learned when I was 16, especially, was that I was trying to be too big of a leader or too much of a hero with our team, that I forgot about my health. and didn't worry about my health and how fast that could be gone in an instant. And so to focus on it, it's okay if you're unable to do it and you're not letting down the team. And I think you have to make sure that the team knows that you're trying your best. And even after you explain to the team, hey, you know what? I can't do this because of this reason. Or even before it happens, just say, hey, this is my situation. I just want to give you guys a heads up. I'm going to do my best of my abilities and hopefully I'm able to keep up. But if I can't, this is why. I think just being open and honest about it, and it is hard. And I know it is hard because even at tryouts, I was sitting at the bench at one tryout and I had a low blood sugar. So if I didn't treat it, I'd go into a seizure on the ice. So I ended up sitting out a couple shifts. And then after my exit meetings, the coaches thought I was out of shape. And they're like, oh, why'd you sit out? Are you out of shape? Were you tired? What was it? I was like, actually, no. I had a low blood sugar on the bench and I needed to give myself some carbs in my body. So I had fruit snacks and I had Gatorade. And they're like, oh, we didn't know that. And so
Yeah.
it's just being open and honest with it and even giving them a heads up in advance. And I
Yeah.
think if they're good teammates, they'll understand completely.
Yeah, and like it's easier to tell them to like that you have like what's going on with you because my heart problem. So it's easier to tell and your diabetes. So it's easier to tell them um that you have that
Mm-hmm.
instead of them pushing you even harder and it getting worse, right?
100%.
So
Well, and
like
if it does get worse, then you're in a bad spot. And they don't
yeah.
even know. They might not even know how you handle it either.
Mhm.
And they might either think that they need to treat you differently, but you can handle it yourself. And the big thing is you have to accommodate for yourself too. You have to be
Mhm.
willing to say, hey, I can't do this, or this is past my limit. I'm sorry. And be okay with it and know that you're not letting down anyone and that your health is number one priority. Because
Right.
I want you here on earth. I want to be here on earth. I don't want you to have to push it too far where it's not recoverable. And so,
Right.
yeah, I think that at the end of the day, your health is number one priority.
Yeah. It's true, very true. So, you started skating at a very young age and grew into an excellent hockey player. The hockey path that you decided to take was more focused on education. How difficult was it for you to leave home at such a young age?
Yeah. So I think I was ready to move away when I was 16. I even be ready to move away when I was 15. I was mature enough to do that. The hardest part for me was moving away when my dad was sick and he
Yeah,
wasn't doing well and was well, we were unsure if he was even gonna make it. I think that was the most difficult part was that he wasn't in a good spot and it wasn't good at home for me to be moving away. And it wasn't fair to put all of the stress on my mom as I move away. And then she is dealing with my dad and working. So I think that was the hardest part for me was accepting that I still need to pursue my dreams and passions, even though that my dad may not be doing well. The best part about it though was that he was super supportive with me. And he said, like, hey, you can do this, you got this. And I think one of the other parts of moving away is you get to gain independence and you do become more mature and you also have to own up to it too. So when you do move away, it's not like you can just go back home and stay there. You actually have to stay away and live up to what you said you're committed to. So I was committed to the team that season and I wanted to stay committed to that team that season because I did commit to it at the start. And if
right.
you commit to something, I hold your word. At least that's one of my
Yeah,
values. And so
yeah,
I think though, for advice, if I was giving when moving away from home, is just to enjoy the whole process and to make friends and to have that family aspect. Because when I moved away, I really learned the value of family because my teammates became my family and my billets became my family. My roommate became my family.
yeah.
And I think that's super special to really embrace that and make some lifelong memories throughout the process and have fun too.
Yeah, and by the way, how's your father doing now?
Yeah, he's doing good. He's in good health. Yeah, no issues with whatsoever. He takes
That's
about
good.
30 pills a day, but other than that, he's doing really well.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
So what is it about hockey in Saskatchewan? Uh, it has the most NHLers per capita, and such strong support from the communities in the province. So, like, what is it about
Yeah.
Saskatchewan?
I would say it's due to our cold weather. Part of it, maybe, because in the winter it's really cold here and we have lots of frozen lakes and lots of frozen ponds. So you're able to play hockey for quite a long time outside too and inside. But I also think it's just part of our community and it's part of our rituals because every rink, well, every small town in Saskatchewan for sure has a rink. And like that's their community center is the hockey rink. And so I think that's why it's per capita one of the top places in the NHL for players is that every rink in every town, well, every town has a rink, and every player has the opportunity to learn the game at least. And then if they fall in love with it, then that's great. But there's always an opportunity to play. And I think that's the cool part. And if they can't play in a rink, they have the outdoor rink to strap on the blades and go skate around outside. So I think that's probably the reason why. But also, we really do love hockey, and it's always been in our blood.
Well, that's cool. And so you have given back to the local community long before you were a Bronco. In fact, one of the reasons why you chose Humboldt was so that you could grow your cause. Why were you so determined to like give back?
Because growing up, I wanted to have someone there as a person to look up to or someone to talk to, ask questions. For me, I was alone in a sense. Obviously, there's Bobby Clark who had type 1 diabetes that played in the NHL, but he was kind of more of a figure than anything. And there was no video, there was no YouTube at times, so I couldn't just Google Bobby Clark highlights and see him play. But for me, I really did feel alone, and I wanted to have someone to look up to, or even just say, like, how do I talk about my diabetes in a relationship? Or what do I do if I want to try drinking? Or what happens with that aspect? Or what's the best for my health in hockey? What do you do when you have a low blood sugar? What do you do when you have high blood sugar? How do you maintain it? So there was a lot of questions I just didn't get answers for, and I just had to live and learn, which was fine. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I want to create a program to actually help others throughout their times and to be that inspiration and someone to talk to when they needed that support. And so for me, it was just giving back and helping others that I wish I had.
And do you still keep in touch with the taxi squad?
I do. I still keep in touch with the taxi crew. I actually talked to them, would have been yesterday. One of them, Bernard, I talked to over text. He was asking when I was coming back to Humboldt, and I said, once I'm vaccinated, I'll be back. So we usually go for our annual supper, and we just spend the day together. So looking forward to hopefully doing that once I'm vaccinated, and they're all safely vaccinated too. It'll be a great time.
Yeah. So Humboldt seems like a very special hockey community. You talked about what hockey means to Humboldt in your book. What does the city of Humboldt and its people mean to you?
Oh, they mean the world to me. I consider them my second home. And it's because every community I went to, so I was in North Battleford, Wilcox, and Humboldt, and even Toronto now. I consider them my second home is because I give all myself to that community and really want to be fully invested into it. And Humboldt definitely always have a soft spot in my heart for everything that they've gone through with the crash and all of that. But they also really supported us that year and they really rallied around the Broncos. And then even after the crash, they really rallied around us as they were trying to heal through it too. So Humboldt will always have a special spot in my heart, and it is my second home. I have friends and family there forever, and I can't wait to go back and see them, especially once
Yeah,
I'm vaccinated too.
yeah. So when do you think that like you said you'll get back in touch like physical like you'll physically go see the taxi squad like once you're all vaccinated. So like what how would you feel like how will you feel once you get um the vaccine? Like what is the first thing you're gonna do once you get the
Yeah,
vaccine?
I think I'm gonna go probably to Humboldt and go for lunch with the taxi squad for sure. And I think that I'll definitely go visit my Bella family. I've already seen them a bit, socially distanced, safely. But it'll be nice to see them as well. and I'll probably go to every other community place I've been, the radio station, the school, Special Olympics. I'll try to really get back and say hi to everyone. And I'll probably do a book signing. I think I'm gonna do my first book signing in Humboldt, Saskatchewan. And so that would be one of the big things for me would be to go back there and do it. Um, then after that, I think just try to really enjoy my time while in Saskatchewan because I'll be moving back to Toronto here in August. So it all depends what will happen with that. But I think for sure it'll be just trying to say hi to everyone and get as many smiles as I can and hugs from people once I'm safe. Maybe not hugs, probably stay away from hugs still, but as many smiles as I can through a mask.
So 2018 was a strong season for Broncos, and you were in a tough series with Nipawin. What was the mood like on the morning of the 6th? And did you guys feel like you were going to win the series?
Yeah, I honestly thought we were gonna win the series, and we had such a positive mood in the dressing room. We had pregame skate, and guys were flying. We're looking really good. Went to Johnny's Bistro, which is the same restaurant we'd always go to for pre-games, and it was just like a normal day. It really was just a normal day, and we just knew we had to do. We had to win, and that was the only thing we really focused on was just gonna win that game that night and continue moving on and play in the series. And so we had it in us. We believed in the dressing room and we had that confidence and positivity within our dressing room and organization to really move forward and continue playing on the next, uh, continue playing on the series. So there wasn't anything different. We didn't really expect anything different. We were just ready to go and mentally prepared.
I was only 8 at the time of the tragedy, but I remember it all so well. The most difficult thing for us was waiting to hear about how you all were doing. We put our sticks out and wore our jerseys like so many other people around the world. We hear about, and we also hear about terrible tragedies, but whenever it involves a sports team, it often seems way more tragic. Why do you think that is?
Hmm, it's a good question. I think it's because there's more people that can relate to it. And the fact that, well, thank you first off for putting out your sticks and all your support. It really does mean a lot. Seriously, it actually truly means a lot to me and many others as well. So thank you. The second part, though, I really think that I think it's because people can relate to it, and maybe not sports, maybe sports strategies, just because they all are for the same goal. But I think the bus was the big part that a lot of people related to is that they know how they feel on a bus and how they feel safe, and it's like a nice, comfy spot where people can just go relax, create stories, bug each other, learn more about each other, have fun, play cards. And I think that was the part that people really related to was the fact that we were all on a bus and that we were all going to play in a playoff game. So I think that was probably the big part about it. And it really was incredible the support we received afterwards too. It was unbelievable. And just all the messages I got, people saying, "Oh, I can relate to what you've been through. I can empathize. I can put myself in that situation. I've been on a bus or I've been a part of a team." I think that was part of the reason why it was that it was on a bus and that we were a team that were full of bright futures too.
Nice. And so you just said that you were getting a lot of, callbacks saying like for all the support and all that stuff. And, like people were saying like, are you like, you're getting all the calls back. What was the most, like, I know it's hard to, well, it's a little hard to answer this question, but what was the most exciting, I guess, exciting call, like the most biggest
Uh,
place you've gotten a call back from?
oh boy. So I had a lot of people reach out, and I mean a lot. And even like the prime minister was there. I had McDavid there, um, Haley Wickenheiser, Sidney Crosby. There was tons of big people in the hockey world, tons of big people in the world too. Like prime minister is huge. Um, I'd say one of the biggest ones that really meant a lot was Haley Wickenheiser. She was really, really nice, and she actually came and visited us. She really meant a lot. Joe Sakic was another one too. He's one of my idols growing up, and he was another really big one. I I would have to say those two are probably the coolest ones. Yeah, I don't know. It's because it's hard because I don't want to discredit anybody else because so many people came and visited. So many people sent snaps, Snapchats, messages, stories, texts, videos. There's tons and tons. Like even Kopitar sent me a shirt that really made an impact in my life and my mindset. And um, yeah, like I could go down the list. Bobby Clark was another one that was pretty big. That was super cool too. Type 1 diabetic who has is literally the trailblazer of it all in the NHL. And yeah, like he was another huge one that had a major influence. Max Domi, another one, another diabetic. The list goes on. I'm honestly, and I'm privileged to say that the list goes on too, and that all these people did support me and the Broncos. So, like I said, the support truly helped me with healing, and I don't know if I'd be able to pick one, but I'd say Haley Kaiser, Joe Sakic were pretty cool, and life changing too. But like so many others were too.
And we often hear about how survivors wonder why they survived. When me and my dad, when my dad and I were reading about your book, reading about your story, it was clear to us that you meant to survive to tell this story and keep the soul of your teammates going. Do you ever feel that this is the case?
Hmm. I don't know if I feel like that's the case, but I feel like the way that I respond from the situation is part um, of what I wanted to do. So obviously, I don't think it was really anyone's time to go. It's hard for me to fathom that, and I'll never get the answer why either. Like you said, I'll never get the answer why I'm here, why others aren't. I had people beside me who passed away, people behind me who passed away. It just doesn't make sense, and so I'll never get those answers. And I've came to accept those answers. But for me, it was what do I want to do moving forward? And so I wanted to live my life to the fullest, honor those who aren't here, and to really just enjoy life because life is gone in a second and can be. And to now I have, I guess, a second chance per se at life that I still want to enjoy it and make the most of it, just like I was before. But now I have even more reason to do so for the 16. So I'd say maybe not. I don't know. I think that my story was just to help bring light and honor those 16 who aren't here, but also to share more about myself because there was a lot more than just the Broncos to my life beforehand and afterwards. And I also want to talk about like hope, family resilience, and mental health, physical health, emotional health, brain injuries, diabetes, diseases, illnesses, death. There's a lot of topics in there that aren't really discussed in other books. I really wanted to bring a light to in this. So yeah, I'd say it was great. I could share the story for sure, but I don't know if that was the reason why I'm still here.
Uh, this is not a question, but more of a comment. A thank you. You included a tribute for all 16 of your teammates. As a reader, I think that it was great. And to learn something about each and every one of them, it was just perfect.
Well, thank you. That means a lot. And I honestly think it was probably the hardest part of the of the book, not gonna lie. Writing those 16 was difficult, but I'm really glad you enjoyed it and took something away because it wasn't easy at all. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't easy to get that out there, but I wanted them to be honored and I wanted it to be the best chapter ever. But I know it never will be, and I'll never really honor them fully. But it was something that I took away from them, and hopefully others can too.
I've heard of many team building rituals, but can you tell us about? But can you tell us more about the Bachelor team building night?
Oh, I love Bachelor team building night. And it's funny because a lot of people said that was one of the funnier parts that they enjoyed. And it was, I guess, a tradition in Humboldt. They've done it a couple of years in a row now. And that they normally didn't have the turnout that we did though, because there'd be 15 plus guys on our 23-man roster there every night or every Monday for this show on Bachelor Mondays. But I also think it was because we all wanted to be together too. We all loved each other. We all wanted that bond. to really enjoy the time that we had with each other. So I think those Bachelor Mondays really got our team bonding and building together. But it was also like we didn't lots of guys didn't really like The Bachelor. I liked it, but lots didn't. And it's just because they wanted to be with their teammates and relate about something different than hockey. So I think it was pretty cool that we all bonded around the Bachelorette or Bachelor. Yeah.
So you overcame some very serious injuries. At what point did you realize that you were going to make a full recovery? And what was it that motivated you during those or during those like recovery times?
Yeah, I think for me, I didn't know if I was gonna make a full recovery per se with my bone injuries until probably I talked to the specialist and he's like, yeah, like these are all healable. Don't worry. He's the only thing you should be worried about is my brain injury. And so that one still hasn't healed yet. And I don't know if I ever really fully healed my brain injury, but the rest have. And for me, it was enjoying the grind and the process. And we all have our grind, like school, work, academics, relationships, athletics, even diseases and illnesses are part of that grind too. And it's to find and enjoy that grind and have fun in it and make the most of it and find that positive. And so for me, I found the positive and it was just working through it one day at a time. I was getting the 1% better every day. And the first day, my 1% was that I was breathing. Second day was that I had support. Third day was I was able to move my legs and get out of bed. Like the fourth day, I was able to go to physio. So it's slowly getting that progressive better. And that was what really motivated me was to find that positive and really just focus on it because there's so many things. And I even had a long-term goal and a short-term goal. My long-term goal was to go to school in 2018 of the fall and play on the men's hockey team. Obviously, I wasn't able to play a game, but I was on the men's hockey team and I was in school. But then also this shorter term goal was just to get better 1% every single day. And I knew if I was gonna get better 1% every single day, I'd by the end of the summer, I'd have a lot of percentages gained and I'd be feeling pretty good.
That's awesome. And how did you feel to step on the ice for the very first time again? And how important was it to move forward and join the hockey program at York?
Yeah, it really meant a lot to me to move forward in that way. And I think even June 1st, when I went back on the ice for the first time after the crash, it was so special. It felt like I was back on home ice and just back to where I felt so comfortable and easygoing. It was flowy and yeah, I absolutely loved it. And I still remember just skating around and doing a couple laps and just feeling so good out there and happy to be back on the ice. And it was like my happy place for sure. And then to be a part of another team was so special. And York in itself, like to offer me a spot even after the crash, when they've given me a spot before and to honor it for afterwards, it's just remarkable. And I can't say enough good things about them and how they've treated me throughout this whole process. They've been absolutely incredible. So to have that team though, and to have my teammates just support me and be there for me, and especially when I was in Humboldt at my first ever York Beauty introduced in Humboldt. So that was pretty special too. I think that throughout it all, it was lots of healing throughout it, and I was able to really be thankful to be a part of a team.
Nice. That must have meant a lot to you, eh?
Oh, it did for sure. To have
Yeah.
the team atmosphere and to be back in the dressing room with everybody, maybe not at the same faces at all, but just to be a part of something bigger than myself was really important to me.
Nice. And so you have inspired so many people around the world, including NHL greats. What kind of impact has that had on you?
Well, thank you. I think yeah, it's weird to look at myself as an inspiration still, I'm not gonna lie. And I'd say you're an inspiration too. So, and it's weird, I find personally look at it, but it's also nice to know that others can look to me for inspiration and find that, and that they do feel good based on things that I say or do. And I do just truly try to be myself because that's who I authentically am. I don't want to be someone I'm not. And if it is inspiration for someone, that's great. And if it's not, then that's fine too, because I am who I am.
So we have some rapid fire questions right here. Are you okay with them?
Boy, yeah. Throw me in the fire. I'm ready.
All right. What is your favorite hockey movie?
Ooh, Mighty Ducks.
Nice. Same here. What is your favorite song to listen to before you head onto the ice? Like I know you mentioned your team song, like with the
Yeah.
team, but what is your favorite song?
My favorite song would be, oh boy, this is a tough one. I like music a lot, and I should be pretty fast here, but I'm not fast. Let's just go with, oh, I don't know. I'm not. Okay, we'll go with Stronger, Kanye West. It's an oldie, but
Uh,
I like it.
what was your most exciting game as a player?
Honestly, it would be maybe my triple overtime game. My last game I ever played as a Humboldt Bronco. It was crazy. We were down and then we came back, and I scored a goal in it, and it was in, and the game went to triple overtime. So I think that was a pretty cool game. Probably the most exciting one for sure because every opportunity you go down the ice, the crowd go, ah, and then if you come back and you're like, oh my goodness, it goes dead silent, and then you go down and you start freaking out again. So I think that'd be the game. Yeah.
Nice. And who was your childhood hero? And are you a Riders fan?
Yeah, so my childhood hero was probably like Joe Sakic or Jerome McGinley. I really admired them, and I am a Riders fan for sure. Love the Riders. What about you?
Nice. And I'm a Winnipeg Blue Bombers fan
That
because
hurt.
my
Okay.
dad, my dad played for the Bombers. So,
Okay. All right. I'll let you get away with that one. It's all good.
okay, let's see. Oh yeah. What was the one biggest achievement in moving from Saskatchewan to what was the one biggest adjustment in moving from Saskatchewan to Toronto?
Ooh, I like this question a lot. So I ha so with my brain injury, the doctor said I shouldn't, like, if I go there and I take school, I'll fail. Um, and so I think the biggest adjustment was just going to university in itself and being a student athlete again. Um, and also living on my own because I always lived with billets my entire life. And so I was literally on my own. So I was cooking, cleaning, um, maintenance vehicle, everything was on my own, which was, I liked that and I was prepared for it for sure. But it was just something different as an adjustment. And then also the city in itself, there's a million people in Saskatchewan. And then you go to Toronto, there's a million people in one little area. So, and the Toronto's huge. I think the GTA has like 7 million. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on that, but it's huge. And so literally in the one area that I lived in, there was about a million people. So it's really crazy for me to really put it in perspective about how really Saskatchewan was in a small vicinity of a city. And that was probably one of the bigger things too, was just getting adjusted to how many people live there and everything that surrounded Toronto.
This is a little fun one. What is the best locker room prank you were ever involved in?
Okay, it's a little bit rude, but I wasn't really involved in it, but I thought it was pretty funny. Um, Maybe whatever. I thought it was funny. So rookies, we do laundry every year. Like there'd be a laundry cart that would come in the dressing room. And one of the days, our captain, Louis Shots, thought it'd be funny if he froze the rookies' laundry into little cubes. And so what he did was he dunked them into water, and then put them into a cube and would like scrunchy them with elastic bands into a cube and put it into a freezer, and then they'd freeze and they'd come out in a cube. And so he did that with every every rookie's laundry. And so then one day he showed up to practice the next day, and then they're like, "Where's our laundry?" And then he went and grabbed it out of the freezer and put it in a cart. And then the rookies grabbed the laundry, and they're literally frozen. Under Armour is in the laundry. So I think it was a little bit too far. I didn't really want to do it personally, But another funny one that's super easy that everybody can do is if you have a stall and put a cup of water underneath the helmet. So then they put the helmet over top. So when they take off the helmet off the top rack, the water comes and falls on them. And
Oh,
so that one's a little bit funny, or even just taping someone's blades, putting like clear tape on someone's actual skate blade is pretty funny too. But yeah, there's been lots of pranks I've been a part of or received. So yeah, it's funny. I like that. It's fun to keep it light and humorous, but you don't ever really want to injure anyone or make anyone feel really bad. So yeah, be safe in what you're doing and kind of think about it into yourself. Would you like it if it was done to you? So I've always had that perspective.
what is the best piece of advice you have received that you would like to pass on?
Hmm. I say the best piece of advice would be to focus on the things that you can control. And in life, there's many situations that we really can't control. Like we can't even control other people, and we think we can, but we can't. Can't even control me being diagnosed with diabetes or our illnesses. Like we can't control that, but we can control is how we want to react to it and perceive it, and how we want to move forward and to be like our actions, our work ethic, our beliefs, our values. We can control all of that and how we want to treat others in this world too. So I think focusing on the things that you can control and just spending time on that, because there's going to be some things that are out of control that we'll never find answers for, or that we wish we could control, but we truly can't. And a lot of people get heavily focused on that. So I think is to find the comfort in knowing to only focus on the stuff that you can change or can control.
All right, so this is the last question. Can you give me 3 words that sum up Kaleb Dahlgren?
Ooh, it's tough. I'd say loving, positive. Hmm, hmm, Loving. Yeah. I don't want to throw another word, but it's kind of the same as loving, and loving encapsulates it. So I'm gonna just leave it out. We'll go fun. Loving, positive, and fun. I think
Awesome.
those would be my three. What about you? Let's hear yours.
All right, let's see. Nice, positive, energetic.
I like that. That's great. Yeah, I like that a lot. We're kind of similar.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay, so I want to say thank you for joining my podcast. It was an honor to have you. It was amazing. I had so much fun, and I learned a lot about you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me on here. And it's absolute my honor to be on here. I love what you're doing, and the message that you're spreading is incredible. So continue being you and continue being so strong. You, like I said, you're an inspiration to me. And thank you for doing this.
All right, thank you so much.
No
And
problem.
hopefully, after this COVID stuff is done, I can sign my book.
Yes, I'd love to
Yes.
meet you. Love to meet you for sure. We'll have to do
Awesome.
something for sure. So
Awesome. Thank you.
no problem. See you, buddy. Have a good one.
You too. See ya.